Mhm, mhm. All right, I think we are live right now.
We are on YouTube. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha. Let me just shut this down for a second. Okay, today is an exciting day, I have to say, because the woman who I am about to introduce, you can see her right here. You probably already know who she is. She's a pretty, she's a queen out there when it comes to finance and leveraging. And a lot of people in the world, I would say the majority, actually, I'm going to ask Doria this question in a second. What percentage of people are out there have no clue how to leverage in order to go to the next level of their finances? My name is Brandi Veil, transformational educator, financial literacy advocate. I am in the world of Web3. I'm helping bridge the common person over into a sustainable, more transparent ecosystem for finance. And so I'm bringing the 11-day challenge, which is coming up very soon. I want to invite everybody into this challenge to talk about money and to talk about it in a healthy way so that we can start to up our game. Maybe you're already there. Maybe you already know how to leverage. Maybe you have lots of capital, but you don't have a lot of liquidity. Let's go deeper into this conversation because Miss Dame DC Doria Cordova is a founder of Money and You, and she has a program that's coming out very soon, very, very, very soon, called Distinctions with Money and You. Thank you so much for being here, Doria. It is an honor to be in your presence, and I welcome you to the call.
Aloha, everyone. Actually, a lot of people don't know me because I am the power behind the power. They know the people that have gone through the Money and You program, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, who was my business partner for 9 years back in the 90s. And the first book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, is based on the Money and You program. So they're very familiar with my work, but I am the secret. I am way in the background. And I am being brought forward to make the distinctions of creating wealth and doing good. I'm being brought forward so that I can clarify it for people because there's such a confusion right now around wealth and money. There always has been, but not as much as there is right now because there's different realities that are being said in social media, different reality on what the facts are, and different reality on how money is evolving, from cash, right, to crypto and all the different aspects and all the different ways of creating wealth. So I am Doria Cordova, the CEO and owner of Accelerated Business Schools for Entrepreneurs and the Money and You program, which the work that I have been doing for 46 years, 46 years.
This is a deeper dive, and I want to be very human about this call. I see you. You're a light. You are somebody who just says, I'm going to be a root in this earth and I'm going to listen. So, when did that start for you? When you just knew, okay, I have a mission and I can't stop. When did you start this?
It actually happened when I was only 26 years old in 1976. And I had what could be considered an enlightenment experience in Hawaii, in Hanalei Bay on the island of Kauai. And it was the 70s. I was 26 and we party. We were party girls. And I was also a total professional. I was believe it or not, an official court reporter in the criminal court system in Los Angeles. And then I had moved to Hawaii. And I was so conflicted. I didn't know what the word integrity was. I didn't know such a word. I had never heard of that word until I did the first one of the S training, which was one of the first human potential programs on the planet that became very famous. And they used the word integrity, and it was like, oh, that's a really interesting word. And I realized that I had gone completely out of integrity with myself because I knew certain truth within myself, and I knew what really mattered, but I was also a professional, and I was going to grow up to be an attorney, and I was being told just follow the money, do whatever it takes for you to become rich, do whatever it takes for you to being successful, step on people, do whatever. It was like, whoa, very confusing. And when I had my enlightenment experience, I had this feeling that said, I did not put you on planet Earth to be a party girl. You have a job to do. And it was like, what the heck? I have a job.
I
What do you
can
mean I have a
relate.
job?
I can relate. Carry on.
And basically, within months through the Hunger Project, we were introduced to Buckminster Fuller. And for the first time, I heard Buckminster Fuller say that in the world, in the early 70s, scarcity was no longer a condition on planet Earth, that all financial institutions, educational, banking, you name it, are based on the premise that there's scarcity on the planet, and a wonderful and very interesting man way back, born in the 1700s, died in the 1800s. His name was Thomas Malthus, and his is called the Malthusian theory of economics, which is the management of scarce resources. So now it's the early 70s, no longer scarcity. It doesn't exist. There's enough food, resources, water. There's enough energy on the planet to no longer have scarcity. But to this day, in 2024, 2025, whenever you watch this, we are still living in a world that believes in scarcity. And it just hit me like a Mack truck. And it was like, oh my God. And then, of course, one of the things that we wanted to do is eradicate hunger on planet Earth, which most people don't understand that in 1976, in the 70s, even in the 80s, and even now for many people, they think that scarcity, that hunger, world hunger is part of the natural state of nature in order for humans to survive. It is the most insane thought, but yet people live from that. And so people go, yes, it would be nice for everybody to be fed. Nice? Yes, it would be really nice. Go hungry for a couple of days and see how nice it would be.
Yeah.
And so now I had this mission. I had this job, which was like, oh, eradicate hunger. And it was like, and then something just started burning in me. I was only 27 years old. It was the best year of my life because it was just, whoa, possibility. It was like, yes, I can do something. God, I mean, if you had just known, 44,000
Yeah.
children a day were dying of starvation at the time.
This is
So
a
it
big
was a big
this
one.
this is a big one, right? So I want to chunk that down for a moment. So you started with the term integrity, and we have this big idea that abundance and the abundance economy is everything at all times, right? It's accessible, it's collective, everything is a yes. Our show is Yes 30 Abundance and Wealth. That's my podcast. Abundance is this idea that you can have, do, or be anything, and it is there. And then what you're sharing with me in the integral side is first key to unlocking abundance in my codes that I share in my world is abundance has these codes that unlock vibrational harmony within yourself. So whether that's a mindset, whether that's trust or uh, integrity or unity or communications, all these keys get to be unlocked within yourself. So in integrity, you had this moment, I have a mission. Now you've gone and you've heard this mission, you had the aha moment to how to ease poverty in the world. It's a big idea, right?
Yes.
So what's the next step? What you got into working with the human consciousness? Tell us about that.
Well, right now, you cannot go from scarcity to abundance. That's impossible. And that is the problem that is happening even now. When I look back, Money and You has been around for 45 years. The business school, which was the first program that I attended of its kind in the world, it was called the Business School for Entrepreneurs. And that was 46 years ago. It's like, even today, a lot of the financial literacy programs, there's many out there many of them don't work because people are trying to go from scarcity to abundance. That's impossible. Buckminster Fuller taught us when you come from a place of sufficiency, abundance will follow naturally. And
Mhm.
so you have to be careful also with the word abundance, because when we're talking about the unconscious doesn't have logic. This is, as soon as you get this, you're going to be very careful what you begin to say to yourself and the situations you put yourself in front of, because the unconscious is like literally like black or white. It doesn't get gray. It doesn't get it. It's either one way or the other. So so if you are just talking about abundance and you're working on abundance, but you still don't get move forward, that's when you have to put yourself through experiences and through processes. And that's why, in Money and You, the live 3.5 day program is 65% of them is experiential programs. And then, of course, I now have a new course that is only 3 hours online, where I'm bringing up some of the biggest principles, the distinctions that we teach in Money and You. But I'm also sharing with people on a day-to-day what to do in order for you to begin to overcome those unconscious programs that we have that keep us like in a place of scarcity and of lack, no matter how much money you have, because
Yes.
money only handles money problems. I want you to hear this. Money only handles money problems. Consciousness work, mastery work, self mastery, moment to moment, day to day, which we can help you. Beautiful branding will give you the most beautiful principles. And you better do your expansion exercises. That's what we call homework.
Yeah.
Your expansion exercises is when you go to work and get your little feet, hands dirty out there by going to work and having those feelings come up, releasing them, doing a daily ho'oponopono on your beliefs that are so unconscious. And so that's why I love supporting you. I just want you to know that you're this beautiful young woman, and I know that you're not 21, but to me, you're very young, and I started very young. I love to empower young people, men, women, everybody. And what I love to do is to get you a fast track to understanding that. And I'm going to pull this up again, because even if you are a crypto person, in your unconscious, your mother, your father, the school, the banking and everything, unless you are 7 years old and have lived with a family that is totally immersed in a new level of consciousness around finances, this stuff still, we react to it. We still react to it. And as
I
long as
love
you have
money.
yes, but people, and it shows because you live a very prosperous life. But we get set aside, and I'm one of the OGs in the industry, because I have been committed to not only creating wealth for myself, but also doing good and then teaching the principles of sufficiency. So
Yes.
that's the key: sufficiency.
Let's talk about that. So, when we talk about abundance, or when I'm saying the word abundance, I'm right where you are. Who wants 1,000 cats? Nobody wants 1,000 cats if you're unconscious about abundance. But if you have this efficiency and you have the systems in order, or even synergy, right? Synergy is that systems and energy that working together. And now you have the set a foundation. So let's start to talk about setting the foundation on leverage. So share a little bit about what leverage is and how that foundation is real. Now, foundation of understanding of what leverage is one of the keys getting
Well, let
started.
me just show you one of our flip charts from Money and You, right? So
Yes.
leverage, comes from that, the lever. It's a way that it is the fulcrum allows you for you to do what Buckminster Fuller would call more with less. One of our biggest distinction is that the highest form of leverage is education.
Yes, it is.
So what you have to do is leverage is the ability to be able to use whatever resources, money, contacts, networks, access. I have a book called Access to Cash It's a new definition of wealth, and it's not what you think. So there are many ways for us to be able to leverage what we currently have, but it does require for you to create systems in place. And there's only two things. If you are in business and you care about being successful and having a prosperous life, there's only two things you have to be concerned about on a daily basis. How much time are you spending on income generating activities? And how much time are you spending on creating systems that will then leverage all your resources and create wealth for you? So I want to give a very quick gift. People can go to moneyandyou.com, and there's a free gift, and it's a book called The Business Success Model. I wrote it a long time ago, about 10 years ago. It's a little tiny book, but it's like the basics of creating a success model.
Mm.
Now, the biggest thing is creating an economic engine. As long as you're working for others, which is fantastic, as long as you have profit sharing, or or you get paid some very high, if you get paid $1,000 an hour, you don't mind being an employee. But if you get a little less than that, you may want to start thinking about creating an economic engine, or having profit sharing in whatever business that you're involved in. And so when you have brightness of the future and you begin to understand what it means to really create wealth, is through systems. And there's three words in any language that are the most understood. One of them is love. We're not going to talk about that in this one, even though you and I, that's us.
All day long.
Love is love. The other one is systems. Most people have no understanding what a system really is and the basics of it. Systems are duplicatable, and they catch themselves, and they work by themselves, and the system has to be designed so that it catches its own mistake. That's a true system. And the other word, of course, is the word of the day, which is leverage. So leverage is the ability for you to begin, even if you have very little money, and even if you are in a place that no matter how old you are, that you just kind of starting out, every morning after you do all your morning disciplines, and you're getting ready to go into quote unquote work, into your business, you ask yourself, how can I best leverage myself today? How can I best create income generating activities today? You focus on those today, and unless you are independently wealthy, do not waste your time. And this is where people just just they spend all this time promoting is fantastic, but you got to have that bucket that catches all those promotions, and that's an economic engine.
100%. Part of my waking up to money and loving money, it wasn't always like that. It was, I had everything. My soul, my spirit said, Brandi, you come to this earth to help ease that pain and suffering of poverty. And my story is basically mom, 3 children, working 5 jobs. So I learned nothing about money. I did not go to college. It was one of those things. I was out on my own as an emancipated minor at the age of 16. I had to fend for myself until I was after a car accident where I lost everything. IRS came. There were so many stories of why I do the work I do in financial literacy. And it wasn't until I had this aha moment. The aha moment was I would buckle when I would look at a spreadsheet. I would just buckle when I would look at my bank statements. I would buckle if anything had a system to it, because I felt like I'm this free spirit. And many of us spiritualists can speak about this. I'm this free spirit, and I'm not going to be locked down in a system. Right? Because the government and this schooling and the things that we unfortunately are limited as creators and creatives. If we're locked in a system, then what happens? It changes. And I know a lot about the brain. So it started to change my brain. And in order to have a frequently of money, I had to change my free Keyword here, folks, free spirit. So what did that mean to me, right, Doria? It's like, we know we're free spirits. We know we're creators. We're unlimited supply of intelligence seeking its way through here in this body. Now you're going to limit me? Whoa. And I'll tell you, I did have a big awakening when it came to dealing with money because I saw a frequency, a vibration of people. I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't want to hang out with you. No, thank you. No, no, no. And then I had to change my relationship with money. And the relationship that shifted was this love, that I would infuse love into
Mhm.
the money and to the resources that I had, like this call today with you. I called you, I said, we've been talking about a lot of things for a long time. Let's do this together. And all of a sudden I became re-hyphen source. So I reframed words all around money like resources. Re-hyphen source means comes from the source, but I get to remember, remembrane, right? Bringing the membranes of the brain together. I get to remember the source. So every time I speak about money or I say this is what it costs in order for us to go to the next level, I remember the resource richness that I am. So I'll pause there. Is there anything that you want to respond to on that? Because I know this is what you teach, some foundation inside your work.
Well, let me just talk about free spirits. I
Sure.
grew up in the 70s, okay? And I was being trained to go into the court system. And I always have had what could be considered a hippie spirit. The hippie lifestyle back in the 70s was a little bit different than it is now. But by the way, I went shopping the other day at Nordstrom's and I couldn't believe it. Everything was from
Like
the
seven.
70s.
I'm
It
gonna
was
be
like,
my NFT is dropping this weekend at Coachella. If you're watching this later on, just know that I have an NFT called Grateful Girl, and it's all about financial literacy and emotional intelligence. But it's all about 60s, and we're bringing back the love. It's called the Love series, the Summer of Love.
oh,
Yeah.
the summer of love. Well, I was there. I was 19 years old in 1969. So I loved the love. And then what happened was actually it was going really well. We were doing really fantastic until there were other sources that started coming in and ruining it for people. I mean, we weren't clear enough and there wasn't, the frequency wasn't high enough, but we're coming back. So when the business school for entrepreneurs was started by Marshall Thurber and Bobby T. Porter, and I was a student in it, and I learned so well, I ended up owning the business. We were considered hippies with money, rich hippies. And the reason was because we were talking about world peace through business. And
Mm.
when most people don't understand that entrepreneurship and business is actually just a system, marketing is just a system. These are just systems for humans to create wealth. And whatever judgment, whenever we judge anything, it doesn't matter what it is, whenever we judge anything, we step out of the realm of love. So when we have any kind of judgments of, for instance, if we have certain politicians, certain policies, I literally stand in front of my TV or my little iPad or my phone, and I stand there and I go, this is my teacher of unconditional love. If I can love this human, if I can love that group of humans at the level that I think that I need to, then I have an ability to be able to think more clearly, to attract to me that which is the most highest frequency. And whether you like that word or not, whether you like energy or not, hey, good luck. It's already been proven scientifically
Yeah,
that
it's
this is
quantum.
happening. So quantum physics is like here. So if you don't believe it, then it's time for you to kind of like, you know, either you got to step aside or you got to move forward, because right now the times are asking us to. Oh God, there's so much to say. Let me just
I
come back for
know,
1 second.
I know,
But
and I want to be conscious of your time. I don't want to
oh no,
stop
it's
you.
okay.
You tell
It's
me
okay.
when. Okay.
It's okay. We are at the fringes. You are a young version of me, and I am an older version of you. I've just been around the planet a little longer. So when I had my enlightenment experience, I had this realization at the first S training that I attended that I had control over nothing except my consciousness.
Okay.
And every human is an experiment. Every human is an experiment. So my life has now become an experiment that I can share with others that are like-minded, like yourself and your audience. So, now clarity, this is another distinction from money and you. It's called clarity leads to power. By the way, Marshall Thurber created this, and I love it that it's everywhere on the planet. And some people want to, coin it as if though they created it. Marshall Thurber wrote this in 1978.
Mm.
So clarity leads to power. So what I want to invite people, if you go to fridayswithdoria.com, by the way, there's 4 years there of master's free education for you. But
Mm.
if you go to resources under magical recovery exercises, there is these exercises that will begin to get you clear. And this, along with the work that you're doing. See, it's impossible for me to compete with anybody. I cannot compete with you, Brandi. I cannot compete with a million other people teaching financial literacy because there are 8 billion humans that live in scarcity. Okay. It's a very small number. So if you have this yearning to have a beautiful profession, to create an economic engine around this beautiful life purpose of yours, you are a rare animal.
I
You're
look at it in
unique.
two parts. I look at it in two parts, okay? If this is one part of the world, the ones that are completely not really focused on the light, or that's the scarcity mindset. And then you have this part of the world, which is the abundance mindset, the prosperity mindset, and you put us together, then you've created this phenomenon, this bridge that is actually circular. And in the circular economics, we are resourceful, we're unlimited, and we have laws of reciprocity that enable us to have this infinite code. And I go deep into that into my courses. But there's this thing that you and I, us hippies, people call me woo woo, but I just look at it in a wave of great change. And this wave is energetic, and its energetics lives inside of us. It is the dormant reality. You talk about leverage, it's a word. I hear leverage as resourcefulness, resourcefulness. And then I say, well, now, how can I let go of the things I thought I had to do? Because I was in scarcity mindset that they were going to take from me, they wouldn't profit share, they were going to go around me. I mean, I've done some pretty big deals in my day, but I was here for a very long time. And until I said, I'm going to be here. And I said, I'm going to just bring on as many teams and partners and JVs, and I'm going to be resourceful. And I'm going to, key number one in my book, Unlocked, is trust. Key number one. And key number one is very, very important, because if we don't trust ourselves, we project ourselves back into scarcity. But if we trust ourselves in prosperity, then we've unlocked the other codes. You can't get to the other codes unless you have that key. You must trust. I've said a lot, and I know that we're just about on the last final words. I just want to thank you, Doria, for being the conduit. I mean, you have all the keys. And I'm so thankful and grateful for this time. Are there any final last words that you want to share with our members of our community and our audience?
We love flip charts. We love, experiential training. And this is the thing.
Oh, hold on. Something's going on with the sound.
Okay, my sound,
You sound like a mouse.
I do. Oh,
That's
how
so
fun.
funny. Hold on, let me just recheck this. Hold on.
It's okay because I have a personality called
Oh, I don't know
Matilda.
if it's on my end.
It's okay
Oh
because it's
my.
perfect for everybody else. It's okay.
Let's pause for 1 second. I'll cap this off, and I'll just if you're listening on YouTube, this is fun and games with going live, but I'm going to make sure that you have all the information for Dame Doria, because it is important opportunity for you to step up and learn all about leverage and what she has to provide for you. And thank you for being here. Doria, please don't go anywhere. I'm just going to fix some things in the background and make sure that everybody has your information. And just to recap, this is your opportunity to go to the next level. That's not a sales thing. We give out all kinds of resources, including our 11-day accelerator, which is a challenge of abundance and wealth. I'll make sure you have those links, and also the distinctions program with Money and You with Doria, because this is happening. It's coming up really soon. So I want to make sure you get on top of this. Okay. Thank you so much for chiming in. Bye out there in YouTube, and be sure to subscribe. Okay. Stand by, Doria.